The Brooklyn Nets. It's time to talk about them. The Nets have ruined my night the past two nights, and tonight was no different. They lost in overtime to the Memphis Grizzlies, and I recall a game last year early in the season when Jay Crowder beat us at the buzzer, and this one felt pretty much just as bad, maybe not as bad, but I was pretty ticked off about this game. My whole night sucked. I got a new phone, so I was trying to set that up, and that was frustrating enough. Then to watch the Nets lose in overtime to a Memphis team that's really not that good. I know we didn't have Spencer Dinwiddie. We'll get to that later. No Durant, no Kyrie. I get all that, but the Nets probably should have won that game. So that annoyed me enough. Then the previous night against the freaking Hornets, who are not much better, maybe worse, they lose that game as well, and a game they probably should have won. So I haven't talked to you guys about the Nets since opening night, and that was awesome. The Celtics game on Christmas was also great. They won by 20-something points. I was great, feeling awesome. Great Christmas win. As I said, I have a lot of Celtics friends, and my brother's a Celtics fan, so that felt great. Nets played awesome in that one. Then the Hornets game comes up, and we're coming in healthy. The whole team's healthy except for like Nick Claxton maybe. Everyone's healthy, but then all of a sudden, Spencer Dinwiddie, non-contact knee injury in the first quarter, I think it was, or early second quarter. It looked bad. The broadcast said it was a knee sprain. We found out the next morning, which was this morning, that it was a partially torn ACL. He'll probably be out the whole year. I'll touch on that in a little bit. And, they lose that Hornets game in a very close fashion. Like, I think Kevin Durant, I forget if it was a tie game or if they were down two, but Durant had that basically baseline 12-foot jumper that rimmed out that he makes 8 times out of 10. So that sucked. And, they should have won that game. And guys like Landry Shamet, Taurean Prince played like garbage that game. That's pretty much what stood out to me. I think Shamet did not have a field goal made that game. Taurean Prince was not good. Then, of course, we find out this morning, Dinwiddie torn ACL. He's out. We find out, at I forget, maybe 2 o'clock or so, Kevin Durant rest day. Then at about 3:30 or so, we find out Kyrie Irving as well, rest day. He's out against Memphis. So I'm going into it okay, we might drop this game. We're starting Taurean Prince, Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot, some other guy. I forget who it was. It was Joe Harris, Luwawu-Cabarrot, Prince, and DeAndre Jordan, who I'll get to later. I cannot stand Jordan right now, but they go into that game a little ugly early. They're down 10 points or so, maybe 12. They get it back. Karis LeVert starts cooking. Chris Chiozza comes in, starts doing well. So you're thinking, okay, there's a chance. And Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot also had a great game. He had 21 points, I believe. Shot the ball pretty efficiently. So guys in this game were playing well, certain guys. Then you have the DeAndre Jordan, and you have, some other guys that are not playing well. Even Joe Harris, I feel like, could have played better. So there's guys that were doing well, and then guys that were also playing like garbage. And DeAndre Jordan has to be number one on that list with the loose ball fouls and the pass that he dropped in, I don't know if it was overtime or late fourth quarter, but the one where it was a pick and roll with Karis LeVert that went through his hands, where I think they could have taken a 2-point lead if he caught it and laid it in or dunked it. That was a killer. And DeAndre Jordan is getting outplayed by Jarrett Allen, severely. I don't know what, Steve Nash and the coaching staff is seeing right now that's keeping Jarrett Allen on the bench for the entire overtime and playing DeAndre Jordan. I know it's veteran leadership. I don't care. Jarrett Allen's playing a lot better. I mean, Jarrett Allen had 15 rebounds in 22 minutes. I feel like he's doing better offensively as well. He has not been catching alley-oops to the extent that DeAndre Jordan has, but at the same time, it's one part of the game. Who cares? Jarrett Allen is doing just about everything better than DeAndre Jordan, but for some reason, Jarrett Allen cannot find the floor. He came in for one rebounding attempt on a free throw, I feel like. Other than that, he wasn't really in on free throw attempts. So, what are we doing here? Why is DeAndre Jordan playing so many more? I don't know if it's so many more minutes, but it felt like in the late fourth quarter, overtime, Jarrett Allen barely sniffed the floor, and here's DeAndre Jordan playing like garbage, and we keep him out there, and then we lose the game. So it was terrible, and that. They had the play with Karis LeVert, tie game in regulation. I think they called a timeout there. And they come out, they separate the floor, 2 guys in the wing, 2 guys in the corner. Karis LeVert one-on-one on top of the key. And he settles for a step-back three-pointer, which I will say, he did get decent separation. It was a good look. But Karis LeVert, is not the guy you want shooting a step back 3-pointer. When you have everybody spread out, just take them to the rim. Like, take them, to your strong side, your right side. Do a pump fake or throw your body into him and make a layup off the glass. He's good at that. He did it last year against the Knicks, and I think he won the game off that. Why not try something like that? Like, I know Karis LeVert is capable of making a step back 3, but that's not your highest percentage shot. So I was not a fan of that shot selection. Then there was the one in, I don't know if it was overtime or also regulation, where LeVert airballed a 3-pointer near top of the key as well. So, like, they had so many dumb shot selections towards the end. Then there was the one where I think Grayson Allen missed the free throw. Nets come back on offense down 2 in overtime with like 10 seconds left. They call timeout. You're hoping they draw up a play. Landry Shamet, inbounds the ball with like basically no time left to spare. Inbounds it at like 4.5 seconds. Joe Harris gets the ball, shoots a contested 3 with, basically no legs on the rim. It was a tough shot, barely graces the front of the rim. Grizzlies get the rebound, and that was it. Like, the Nets just, they annoyed me tonight. They really should have won that game, and that's one that they definitely gave away. So they lose, what was the score? It was 116-111, a lot closer than that. The night before was 106-104, and that's 2 games right there that slipped away, and I feel like they probably should have won. And I understand that I'm an idiot fan. I wanted to go 72-0. Of course, that was not going to happen. But when you're losing these games to teams like Charlotte and Memphis, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, at least take one of those games. At least find a way to close out one of those games for me. Like, that's all I'm asking. Like, you don't have to win both. Find a way to close out one of those games, especially the one where you have Kyrie and KD. If you can't close out a game when Karis LeVert's your only isolation scorer, I get it. I mean, I completely get it. But at the same time, like, find a way to win me one of those games. Like, it's 2 nights in a row now, 48 hours of tough losses, on top of it, having Spencer Dinwiddie be out for the season, which I'll get to now. So Spencer Dinwiddie not being here, I mean, I tried to make light of a bad situation. I compared it to, if you've been watching the Nets for a little bit, in 2013, the year that we traded for KG and Pierce, and the Nets were, supposedly finals contenders. They started off very slow in October, November. Brook Lopez broke his foot in like early December. So Brook Lopez is out, the big 7-footer, slow-moving guy. The Nets basically go smaller. They start moving quicker, more, fast tempo, fast pace. The Nets start playing a lot better. I forget what kind of winning streak they went on at that point, but in December and January of that 2013, 2014 season, or was it 2012, 2013, whatever the first year of KG and Pierce was in Brooklyn, or the only Paul Pierce year, I should say, they were really good in December and January. That's when things started to get better. And I looked at the Nets the first, 2.5 games when Spencer Dinwiddie was here, and he was like the one guy that was sticking out in like a not so positive way in the starting lineup. I felt like everybody else had their role. Kyrie Irving was the ball dominant guard that can score whenever he wanted to. He was good at dishing out the ball when he needed to. Joe Harris has his role. Kevin Durant was fitting in nicely. DeAndre Jordan does what DeAndre Jordan does, but still, I mean, playing center, I guess, is not too bad. You just set picks and catch lobs for the Nets offense. It's not too bad. But for Spencer Dinwiddie, it was more of just like a catch and shoot type of role. I said on the last video I did for the Nets, I like Spencer on the fast break. He's like the fastest player on the Nets, so I like that about him. But when they're in the half-court offense and you're asking Dinwiddie to catch and shoot, it's not going to go so well. So Dinwiddie's more of a ball-dominant type of guard, and I will say, I remember one play in the game, right before he got hurt, he caught a 3 in the corner. It looked like he shot off one leg. It was a perfect swish in the corner. And I'm thinking, all right, maybe Spencer's finding himself in this offense and things are going to get better. And then a couple minutes later, he has that awkward landing on his knee, and we find out he's out for the year. So it was a tough situation. I'm trying to make the best of it and hoping that somehow once Durant and Kyrie come back, maybe the Nets find a way to make this work. Now, I don't know who's going to replace him in the starting lineup. My thought and my preference would be Landry Shamet, although he has not played well this year. If they want to put TLC at the 2, I guess they can make that work, but I look at TLC as more of a 3-4 type guy. I don't know how tall he is. He must be like, 6'6", 6'7", maybe, so I guess you could play the 2 at that size, but like TLC is not the greatest ball handler. Let's be honest, he's fine, but like I feel like Landry Shamet's a little better, so I feel like Shamet would fit that role better. And the reason I like it is because of the fit on the team. If you put Shamet and Joe Harris in the same lineup, that's now two guys that a defense has to account for. They'll try and run those guys off the three-point line. They'll penetrate, kick out to an open Kyrie or KD, dump it off to DeAndre Jordan or maybe Jared Allen in the future if he finds himself in the starting lineup. So I kind of like having two really good spot-up shooters on the floor at once, but if they want to space out Joe Harris and Shamet and not play them at the same time, I get that as well. But, I don't want Taurean Prince starting. I don't want Caris LeVert starting. Not to say Caris LeVert's not good, but Caris LeVert, when he's on ball, is a lot better. When he's bringing up the ball and being a playmaker, he's much better than Caris LeVert being a two-guard. I think we all can agree on that. So I like Caris LeVert a lot more with the second unit. So, we'll see what they do. It's a crappy situation, but I think Spencer has a player option at the end of the year, so I don't know if he'll look at it as, do I opt in and try and play another year, for the Nets? But, the thing is with Spencer, though, when you're part of a team that has Durant and Kyrie, and hopefully they stay healthy and are still here next year, you're not going to get as many touches. Like Spencer Dinwiddie, we always talk about the past 6 seasons has increased his points per game. It was going to go down this year. Like, unless Kyrie got hurt again, or even Kevin Durant as well, it was almost guaranteed to go down. Like, Spencer Dinwiddie, if he played this year, would have been lucky to get 13, 14 points per game as compared to his 20 points per game last year. So he was going to take a hit with his numbers, but that was to sacrifice the team winning. So that was okay. But his numbers were going to take a downturn, but now we'll never know because he won't be here this year. So I don't know if he opts out, gets a contract elsewhere, gets more minutes for another team, and if he does, I can't blame him. But coming off an injury, maybe the Nets get him back next year. We'll find out, but that's way down the road. But yeah, it's been disappointing. I'll look at the roster real quick because I feel like I'm forgetting some guys, honestly, but I feel like most guys I talked about. Chioza, I think I talked about as well. I talked about the Jared Allen and the DeAndre Jordan debate. I feel like Jared Allen should play more. I don't know if he should start right now, but I don't see why not. I don't know why Rodions Kurucs has not played yet. I'm looking at him right now. I don't know if he's hurt, but that's a guy that I feel like should get a shot at some point. TLC has been great. Taurean Prince and Landry Shamet got to play better. Taurean Prince was better tonight. I will say that. He did make a couple of nice shots. I think Taurean Prince made of... He did make one nice play. He turned the ball over, which is not good, but then he got back on defense and took a charge. So I do like that. At least he made up for it. So he's doing some good things. I mentioned this the other day. Taurean Prince is one of the very few not-so-good Sean Marks moves. I think Taurean Prince and Alan Crabb have been like the two misses for Sean Marks so far. So I'm not liking that Taurean Prince 2-year and $29 million contract. It's not looking too great right now. But hopefully he finds a way to at least contribute in some way this year. But that's pretty much it. Jeff Green got an injury 2 games ago over his eye. He played today. He looked pretty good. He hit a couple shots, couple threes for us. He had that one key call against him on that box out. I was pissed off at first. I didn't think it was bad, but the replay showed he kind of locked that guy's arms. So, it is what it is. Fine. But I don't know. For the Nets to get dogged by Kyle Anderson and Tyus Jones, it was frustrating. Jonas Valanciunas, who used to kill us with the Raptors, it was like, come on. Like, even John Morant, and I hope he's okay because, John Morant's one of the most exciting players in the league, was hurt before halftime. He did not play the second half, and we still couldn't win this game. Like, the basketball gods were trying to give us this game, and we didn't take it. And, like, Dylan Brooks and all these, like, random guys were out here just going crazy against us, and it was ridiculous. So it's frustrating. They got to come back. The Nets have a lot of home games coming up. I'm going to read off the schedule real quick for you guys. So Wednesday at home against Atlanta. Friday at home against Atlanta. I've never seen a home and home against the same team. I guess that's the crazy schedule this year, but that's I've always seen like home and away, never home and home. After that, it's Washington. I think Atlanta's pretty good, actually. I think they're 3-0. Versus Washington on Sunday. Then it's versus Utah, long homestand. Then it's against the Sixers on Thursday, January 7th. So we're way, in the future now. But basically they have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 home games in a row. So there is that. Not many travel days and coming up in the future. So that's a positive. But it is disappointing. The Nets should be at least 3-1 right now. preferably 4-0 and definitely could be 4-0, but they have not found a way to, find a way to close out these games yet. And I think they will. They'll get there eventually, but right now it's frustrating seeing the way they've closed out these games. Durant missing the baseline jumper, seeing Karis LeVert have multiple opportunities and taking, I don't want to say ill-advised shots because that might have been the game plan, but just a step-back three-pointer on the wing. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, honestly, so there is that. But hopefully the Nets find a way to close the games better. If Kyrie or KD played tonight, they probably win. But you could also argue if John Morant played the whole game, we might lose. So, I mean, it is what it is. I guess it's part of the game. But anyway, hopefully they get better. Nets are 2-2 on the year. I don't know where they are in the East. I don't really care. It's too early for that. But hopefully they find a way to get some wins together. Honestly, pretty tough schedule coming up, I would say. I mean, Atlanta's no joke, I feel like. Washington might be the easiest game coming up. Utah's a tough team always. And the Sixers, they always give us a tough time. So, maybe 3-2 I'll take. Maybe 4-1, that'd be great. But anything less, I'd be kind of disappointed. So, we'll find out. I'll talk to you guys at some point. I don't know, maybe after Washington's game on Sunday, maybe. I'll just aim for that, but we'll find out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Leave in the comments your thoughts about the Nets. I don't want to see fire Steve Nash yet. Give the man some time, please, but I don't want to see that. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.